Well, I'm joined now by Professor Dr. Andrew Ullmann of Germany's business-friendly Free Democratic Party. He's a spokesperson for the German Parliament's Health Committee and an infectious disease specialist. Hi, Professor Dr. Ullmann, and welcome to the programme. Now, I want to get straight to it. How do you want Germany to move forward?
I think that question is very easy. I want to have that our country has an opening perspective. We need to understand that a pandemic crisis is real and that virus can cause severe disease and even death. However, we need to understand that everybody wants to have some kind of normality back in their lives, in their social lives, and therefore it's important to understand what the rules are to prevent a disease so that we could slowly open up our stores, open up the social life with restrictions, of course, with precautions. That is important. That's also a responsibility that we have to be cautious what we're doing, and we're not talking about a radical opening. That is not possible, but locally we could do these things.
All right, so not a radical opening, but definitely a loosening. So many respected scientists are saying loosening measures now is a very bad idea. Now, for German politicians, including your party, is it a case of our electorate is tired of the pandemic, but we don't know how to end it, so we're declaring it over?
Well, I don't think so. That's how you should do politics. And on the other side, I like to mention that there are a lot of scientists that have different opinions as well. There's not one opinion that all scientists agree on. That doesn't really work in the scientific world because we usually have a lot of different opinions how to do things. However, when we see that in one region, the incidence rate is severely low, it's sincerely low, like around 10 per 100,000 inhabitants per week compared to other areas where they're over 200, then it's not correct to do the same measures in both areas. So that's our perspective, that we want to have a step-by-step opening, not by a timeline, but by certain parameters that are available of the pandemic so that people have a perspective. And the other thing that really is demotivating for the people is that we were always promised once we reach the number 50 per 100,000 per week, then we could do regional openings. All of a sudden now the new number is 35. And this kind of changing of parameters without real logic behind it or no scientific proof is bothering and is demotivating. And this is the last thing that is helpful in a pandemic, when the people get demotivated not to follow the hygiene rules.
Right. Well, you were mentioning there how some areas have low numbers and other areas have high numbers, but we also know that very quickly those numbers can change, and there are fears that the hospitals could soon be filled with, say, younger patients and possibly even be overwhelmed. Now, would your party take responsibility if, because of the recommendations, we found ourselves in a situation where the hospitals were overwhelmed again?
The question really is, do we want to live with German angst or German mood? And this mood, or being willing to be more, to look at things a different way, because what we're doing right now is a lockdown, which is a sign of an emergency brake or helplessness. But we do understand the pandemic a little bit better. We do understand what aerosols mean, and we do understand what droplet precautions mean, and we do understand that medical masks are very important. And we are not a party who's saying, no, these rules do not count. We understand that very well. Our party wants to actually show the route how to do this better than set only for a lockdown. And of course, if there is a high incidence in a region, we have to go into a lockdown. But the numbers, the real life data, show something else. The number of people on the ICU with COVID-19 has dropped by 50%.
Professor Dr. Andrew Ullmann of Germany's business-friendly Free Democratic Party, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.